Guys, I know it has been a while since I've posted. It's been crazy jumping from state to state, getting ready to leave the country. I'm not at my mom's house right now, so I'm not doing DIYs there. Now we are in a temporary rental. It's actually called a crash pad, where I don't have any of my belongings. They're all in storage, getting ready to ship to a different country right now. Everything that you see that I'm posting right now is the supplied furniture from this awesome company that we're renting through. And even like the artwork behind me it looks different. I'm finding ways to cover everything. I covered this couch, I covered this, and I'm making furniture that I'm hoping I can repurpose in maybe my mom's house. I'm having to be very creative about how I create. I'm getting past that. I know that you are super excited for the video today. I've always wanted to do these amazing stools. I'm obsessed with Leanne Ford, and I've also wanted to do an IKEA hack. This is my first IKEA hack that I've done on my channel, and it's going to be followed by so many more, because where we're about to live in this next country, there's going to be an IKEA very close to where we live. So I'm going to have all the IKEA hacks. I'm so excited. But I want to give credit where credit is due. Another creator did this with a bench, and it's more of like a Lulu in Georgia hack. Where she did it, she found this bench that has a similar profile to these tables. It's like long, it's a long bench. And she made something like this, and I thought I can do that and make these ottomans that I've been obsessed with for over a year. I'm gonna post what her name is below. I don't know how to say it because it's an Instagram handle and I don't know if I'm gonna say it right. It's like Genevieve something. She's awesome. She's got tons of followers, so she's got her own campaign of her own, but I do want to give her credit. So without further ado, let's get to the video because I'm so excited, and let's go.
These are the materials you will need to make 2 ottomans. You'll need 1 queen-size Sherpa blanket from Target, 2 Lack side tables from IKEA, 1 panel of marker board wainscoting measuring 47.75 inches by 2.66 feet, 2 rolls of 1-inch thick project foam measuring 24 inches wide by 72 inches long, and for tools you will need a staple gun with staples, a screwdriver, at least 24 half-inch screws. I got 2 bags from Lowe's for $1.25 each, a serrated knife, and scissors.
Okay, so step 1 is to actually build this IKEA Lack table. This is the 21.25 or maybe 0.75 inch by 21.75 inch one. They have a 22 inch and they have like a 16. It's a smaller one, but this is the one that I used. And you can go smaller or larger. It just might affect the amount of materials you have. I think if you went larger, you wouldn't have enough materials because you use all of the materials that I've listed. You can go smaller. You just have to kind of edit a little bit. So watch the video before you make the decision, and let's get to it.
So these legs screw in using a double-sided screw that you first kind of pilot into the top of the table on each corner, and then you put the leg on next. So there's a screw already screwed into these legs, and you just kind of start screwing it on the other end of this double-sided screw. And while you start screwing it on, it simultaneously screws into the leg and the top of the table. And you just repeat this process for all 4 legs.
So step 2 is to cut the wainscoting. This is what I used, but I think that there's other boards that you can use. This was like $15, not quite, from Lowe's. I did use my jigsaw because I have a jigsaw to cut this. Call ahead with your Lowe's because they should be able to cut it for you, so you shouldn't have to use any power tools.
From this 1 board of wainscoting, I cut 4 20-inch by 16-inch panels. You'll have a little bit left over that you will not use, but you will use 1 of these panels on each side of your ottomans.
So step 3 is attaching these panels. You'll have 4, so you have 2 for each of the opposing sides of your ottoman.
I did not have a drill, so I had to do all of this by hand, but it totally works. I used 6 screws per board, 3 on each side, on the top, middle, and bottom, and then I repeated this process on the next panel on the opposite side of the table.
Step 4 is to cut your foam. I got mine from Joann's. You can get it from Hobby Lobby or Walmart, but it's very important to get this on sale. Foam is expensive. I just want to be transparent for that. I waited for a sale and I was able to get mine for like $19 each. So there'll be 2 pieces of foam that you'll need, 1 for each ottoman. You can go thicker on this foam. It just might make it so that you don't have enough fabric. I literally used the entire length of this fabric. So I wouldn't, or if you did, I would get an extra twin size blanket so that you have more fabric to work with. To measure the foam, I laid it out on the table. I didn't get a good shot of this. But I pushed it to the side of the table first and made it flush with the back. I kind of had to reach over and make it flush with the back. And then I used a marker and I scored I just marked the overhang, and I pushed it to the top, marked the overhang, pushed it to the side, marked the overhang, and then there was extra on the very end, and you cut that end, and you're going to use that end part. So don't waste that part.
I just used a serrated kitchen knife to cut my foam. Again, you'll cut this little end off and a bit of the side here too. It works great. So this is where you're going to use that extra piece of foam that I told you to keep on hand. You still have to cut it down so that it fits lengthwise on your table. But really, what we're going to use this for is to add extra body to the top of your ottoman. I had to flip my little piece over because, as you could see, it was curling. And then you put your large piece of foam over top of that. Once you upholster this, you won't see any bumps or anything. It really just adds to the shape of the ottoman.
Step 5 is to cut your fabric. This is very important because if you are making 2 of these and you use the queen size blanket, you need to make sure that you get as much length as possible. So I think it's a 92 by 84, maybe even 88. But you need every inch. So I actually folded in half lengthwise so that I got all 92 inches of that, and then I cut it in half.
Folding this in half really helps with the cutting process. And make sure that you use the sharp part of your scissors because sometimes it's hard to cut through this fabric, but it's definitely possible.
Step 6 is to begin upholstering. This is the most tedious but most exciting part. You will need your staple gun ready.
You're going to take the fabric that you cut and make sure that it lengthwise stretches from one side underneath the table to the other, making this kind of U shape. It's important that you make sure it is centered on the table, and the best way to do that is to fold your fabric in half and put it on the center line of the table. Then you're able to tuck each of these sides underneath, and each of those ends of the blanket need to be stapled to the underside of the top of the table. I begin by stapling this corner of this side of the table. I just staple on the inside of the leg, as you can see here. Meanwhile, I am pulling the blanket so that it keeps the foam and the blanket tight to the side of the table. I work my way all the way up the side of this leg, and then I bunch the corner like so, and I have to use a couple staples on the bottom, in the corner, and on the top of the corner so that this stays fastened. Then I continue to staple up into about the middle part of this side. I then repeat this process on the opposing side of the table, but this way I am able to pull as tight as possible because the other side is already fastened. I repeat this process on the other half of the table. I then flip over the table so that I can begin stapling these ends to the bottom of the table. As you can see here, I staple all the way along the edge of this blanket, fastening it to the underside of the table. You'll have to pull the fabric pretty tight, and you'll see that there are these flaps of extra fabric that you will need to cut off. I allow about an inch of excess fabric so that I can staple it and hide it on the inside of this leg. As you can see, I pinch together these ends and tuck it into the back side of the leg, where I staple it into place. That way you are able to create a seam that you don't see from the front of the table. The great part about this Sherpa fabric is that it really hides the staples, so even the ones that should be visible aren't really. So you could remove the ones that are a little bit more visible, but again, I didn't see any of them. And if you have any excess fabric like this, I just trim and tuck and staple, and you just kind of repeat this process on all the legs. Then I used the scraps that I cut off to finish the bottom of the ottoman. I staple all of the ends so that they don't hang when you flip it over. Don't worry about this part looking messy because once it's right side up, you won't see a thing. This is how they turned out in my room. I love them so much. I really feel like it elevates the room, and I have to tell you, my camera just does not do these babies justice. They just are absolutely gorgeous in person. And of course, Hank, my corgi, absolutely loves them. They're soft, they're plush, and they are fit for prints. So this is the total cost breakdown for the entire project. Again, this is for 2 ottomans. It's going to look a lot better when you just do one. And again, always make sure you look for sales. I think that this blanket from Target is on sale right now, and I waited for the sale of this foam. I think you can get it even cheaper than what I got it for, especially at Walmart. You can also get a different blanket, but again, all of my measurements are very specific to this blanket and this table. So I don't want to lead you astray and have you not have enough materials. But again, this all is a lot less expensive than the Crate & Barrel option. You can see this is a big price difference. And of course, it's not as curved as really cool ones, but I still love them. I'm really excited because I will be posting more of these designer dupes, especially when it comes to things from Lulu and Georgia, Crate & Barrel, and CB2. I love all of their fun furniture that they're getting out right now. I was able to go to some of these showrooms in Dallas when I was last there, and I gotta tell you, I walk in there and I feel like a rock star. This is what furniture and art is supposed to make you feel like. It's supposed to make you feel better. So I'm really excited. This is my plan going forward, is to do more things like this, along with some inexpensive renovations that you can do to rental properties. So if you have anything that you would like to see me try to dupe, please let me know in the comments. And of course, if you want to keep following along with these fun DIYs, remember to subscribe to my channel. It really, really helps. And let me know what I can do for you. I'm so excited to move forward.